Today I'm going to take you through a mobility and stretch series, and this is just going to be a nice easy half-an-hour routine. If you're feeling stiff and achy, or if you want a bit of de-stress and some relaxation time, then this will be perfect for you. So to begin with, I'm going to get you to come into a nice seated position. You can either be in cross-legged position if that's comfortable. You can pop a block underneath your bottom just to lift you up a little bit, or you can have your legs straight out in front of you with your knees softly bent, whichever you prefer. And then to begin with, we're going to start with some pelvic tilts just to find your neutral spine position. So you can imagine that you're pulling your belly button forwards now if it's on a piece of string, going forwards in front of you, rolling towards your pubic bone. And then you're going to rock back as if now you've got that piece of string being pulled back to the wall behind you. And you'll just rotate your pelvis forwards and backwards, both directions, until you find that nice mid position where you feel like you're equal between your pubic bone and your coccyx. And then just feel that elongation up through the rest of the spine, let shoulders feel nice and heavy. And we'll go in for some nice neck stretches now. So you're just going to drop your ear over to your shoulder, just nice and gentle, nice and heavy. And then coming back through to centre and changing to the opposite side. And as you're doing this, I want you to just focus on keeping those shoulders nice and relaxed and down so there's no movement. So just going to tilt the head over to one side, taking the ear down to the shoulder. Take note of what you're feeling here. See if you feel there's any stiffness more on one side than the other. Just have a little check as to what you're feeling in your body as you're doing this routine. And then now we're going to look over the shoulders. So you're going to take a look over as far as you can, again keeping the chest nice and still, rotation, and then coming back to centre and changing to the other side. So in your own time, nice easy stretch, looking from one side to the other, and again taking notes. What are you feeling in your body as you're doing this? Are you feeling any pulling more on one side than the other? And then your last one here, so just again looking over the shoulder, keep everything nice and easy. And then back into centre. And now in for some shoulder rolls. So now we're just going to glide those shoulders up towards your ears, back and down. Open the chest as you push down, and then back through. And your arms can even be dangling by your sides, or you can have them resting on your knees or your thighs, whatever you prefer for this one. And now we need to focus on those shoulder blades, thinking of taking big circles with the shoulder blades. So you really round and separate them as you come forward to the shoulders. You lift them up nice and high, and then as you drop them back and down, you squeeze them together and down towards the floor. And feel the shoulder blades gliding around your rib cage as you're doing this exercise. And then we'll change directions. So now we'll bring it forwards and down, back and squeeze together. Lift it up, pull it all the way around. And just nice and easy, lots of shoulder blade movements here. And then we'll go for 2 more circles now in this forward direction. The arms are nice and heavy. And then relax your shoulders down. Just feel that lift through the spine. We're now going to go in for your mermaid stretch. You're going to bring one hand down to the floor by your side. Take the other arm up, reach up to the ceiling, elongate, open the ribs out. And then we're going to slide over to the side. I'm just going to go over nice and easy. You can drop into this elbow towards the floor. And with those fingertips, reach them over as far as you can. And then we'll come back into centre and we'll change to the other side. So reaching the arm up, get that nice big side stretch. Slide over, nice big reach all the way across. And then coming all the way back through. Now as you're doing this exercise, I want you to think of being as if you're stuck between 2 panes of glass of your upper body. So the arm goes right over your ear and it's not coming in front of your body or behind your body, so you're not adding in rotation at this point. So we're just going straight to the side into this nice big side stretch, bending into that elbow as far as you comfortably can. And then now we're going to add in a little bit of rotation. So you'll reach the arm up, take it as far over as you can. Now we're going to twist as we rotate down to the side. So we're going to now try and look towards our hand on the floor and feel the stretch as it moves around the waist and into the back a little bit more now. And then coming back through to centre, and then we'll change to the side. So we're going to reach up as far as we can. As we tip over to the side, twist, face the hand on the floor, get that extra rotation as well as the side bend. And then coming back through. We'll continue now. Just go for 1 more to each side. Nice big easy stretch to the side. Rotate and twist. Coming back through. The last one here. Again, nice big reach up and over. And then a little rotation and twist all the way back through. Good, and then now back into your center position again, just resetting yourself, feeling like you're centered on your pelvic diamond. You're going to lift up nice and tall with the chest, keep the shoulders relaxed down. We'll bring the hands into a prayer position. So I always think of having my fingertips in line with my sternum, my breastbone, and in line with my chin. So I keep this all together as we move, and I don't just move the arm individually. So shoulders are going to be relaxed down, so you can do a couple of mini shoulder rolls, let those shoulder blades feel nice and heavy. Collarbones are wide, take a nice deep breath wide into the ribs, and then as you breathe out, we're going to twist over to the side, keeping again the nose in line with the fingertips, and then draw it back into center, and we'll change to the other side. So breathing out as you twist, inhale, back in nice and wide into the ribs, and then breathing out and twisting. So thinking of really opening the ribs wide to the sides as we breathe in. As you breathe out, I want you to think it's like you're kind of blowing a candle out. So you purse your lips and strong breath out. And then again, wide into the ribs as you come into center. And then breathing out and twisting. As you're keeping your pelvis nice and still as it stays in its pelvic diamond position, you keep centered. And then all the movement here happens from your waist. So you're thinking of moving your ribs over your hips as much as you can. Now after the next one, we're going to start to take a little bit more twist into it, where we'll hold the stretch and use our hands to guide us a little bit further. So back into your center point. We'll now take the hand over to the opposite knee. The other hand goes behind you. You look over your shoulder. Push yourself around as far as you can. Look into the twist. So we're looking over our shoulder, we're pushing with our arms, and still staying centered on our diamond, lifting nice and tall through your spine, and keeping the shoulders as relaxed as can be. So you're pushing against your arms, but the shoulders stay down. Now come back into center, and we'll go over to the other side. So bring your hands around, push against the knee, bring the hand behind you on the floor, push into the floor, rotate as far as you can, look over your shoulder, get as much rotation as you can here, but again, making sure that we stay centered so we're not leaning back into the stretch. We're keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, and then back through. And we'll hold this for a few seconds, but I want you with this one to really focus on your breathing now. So you'll twist down as far as you can, and then take those deep breaths in and out. Nice strong breaths, really wide into the ribs, and then as you breathe out, feel like you're growing just that little bit taller. And then back through to center, and then over to the other side. So nice big twist all the way through as far as you can. Looking over the shoulder, pushing into the arms. Focus on the breathing. And then coming back into center. Now we're going to go into a little roll down onto our back, and we'll go through some hip stretches. So you'll swivel around. From here, we're just going to a very gentle roll down, so you can hold onto the backs of your legs if you want to for this, and then you'll slowly tuck your tailbone underneath you, roll one vertebrae at a time all the way back down onto your back, and then if you've got a small head cushion or a folded towel, you can place that underneath your head. So to begin with, I'm going to get you to bring your feet into alignment with your knees and your hips. You've got those little tram tracks into your Pilates rest position. Do a couple of pelvic tilts forwards and backwards. So you'll rotate over your pelvis, trying to roll away towards your coccyx, arching your lower back, and then rolling the opposite way, flattening the lower back. See how much movement over the tailbone you can get here. And then find that nice mid position. Place your hands onto your hips, and imagine that your hands are little paperweights and you're just pressing down onto the hips for this one. Now we're going to go into your hip twist level 1. So this is simply a bent knee fall out, where we let the knee drop out to the side, nice and gentle, and then very slowly we bring the knee back into your center line, all the way back to your start position. So let the leg fall out, let it go nice and heavy here, and you're going to focus on keeping the pelvis nice and steady, nice and still. If you want a bit more challenge, you can float the elbows up, and then as the knees slowly dropping out to the side, just take note of what you're feeling on the opposite hip. You don't want that hip to lift, so you should feel your abdominals on that side just drawing in very gently, just to keep the pelvis nice and still. Allow the leg to feel really heavy, like a dead weight. Very gently you'll feel the inner thighs and your bottom muscles working to help control the movement as it drops out to the side. And again, just taking your time, and you can start to add the breath in. So I would breathe out as we go out to the side. Inhale, draw it back into center. And then exhale, out to the side. Just nice and easy, keeping the pelvis nice and still. Take note of what you're feeling over your tailbone. Check that you don't feel like you're rocking from one side to the other of your tailbone as you do this. We'll just take it for one more. Breathing out as we go out to the side. Inhaling, bringing it back into the middle, lovely. Now we're going to go into a flat back position. We'll take it into some circles. So you'll pull the pubic bone up to the navel, flatten the lower back down, rest your arms down. I prefer to keep hands on hips so I know what they're doing, but you can rest your arms out with the shoulders nice and heavy and arms nice and heavy, palms facing up. So whichever position you want for this one. Now from here, we'll keep the knees into their rest position. So one foot's going to stay down and we keep that nice alignment. We'll float one leg up to our tabletop position. Now from here, I want you to just draw the leg. So you're going to imagine that you've got a giant paintbrush poking out of your knee, and I want you to paint beautiful circles onto the ceiling now. So nice large circles, take it as big as you can without any pelvic movement. So we're keeping the pelvis nice and still. So as the knee drops really wide out to the side, you should feel the opposite abdominals having to help you here a little bit. We'll go for 2 more circles in this direction, and then we're going to change direction. Now just take note as you're doing this of your stationary knee. Have a little glance just through the corner of your eyes, just have a little look into your periphery there, just to check that they're not moving. So you're keeping that knee perfectly still. Now we'll change directions, so rotate the knee the opposite way. Keep painting these beautiful circles on the ceiling with this imaginary long paintbrush poking out of our knee. And then again, just checking the thigh feels really heavy. So you're using your core to help with the movement on this one. But if you had your favorite drink resting on top of the stationary knee and it's full to the brim, I want you to check that you're not spilling any of the drink. So you're keeping your stationary knee nice and still. We'll make this one your last one. Scoop it all the way around and then float back down to the floor, and we'll change to the other side. So reset again, check there's no tension in your back. You've got a flat back position, your abdominals are drawing in. Shoulder blades are nice and heavy. Float the leg up to a tabletop position, and then we'll take the knee out to the side and then slowly circle it around, down, and then swoop up through center. So nice easy circles. We'll just keep circling into our hip socket here, but again keeping the pelvis nice and still. You've got that flat back position, you've drawn in through the abdominals. You feel the opposite abdominals just helping as you drop the knee out to the side, and then you swoop it back through, and then taking a little look through your periphery just to check that stationary knee has stayed nice and still, so you're keeping your drink nice and still. And just again, feel what's going on with your tailbone here. Make sure that you're not rocking left and right to one side of the tailbone and then back through to the middle. Make sure it's staying nice and still. We'll make this your last one in this direction, and then we're going to change it up. So then from here, take the knee down, open out to the side, swoop it up, bring it across the midline, and then continue with these circles. So just nice and easy, nice and heavy here. Nice big circles. And we'll go for 2 more in this direction. Really focusing on keeping the hips nice and still. Last one here. Bring it all the way back in. Good, and then bring your feet back down. Now we'll bring the feet and the knees together. Take the arms out a little bit wider, so you're going to have your palms facing up about waist height here. Shoulders are nice and heavy. And now we'll go into those rotations where we'll really twist the pelvis from left to right. So you're just going to rock the hips over from one side to the other. Really pull that top hip over as far as you can. And your aim as you're doing this one is to keep the shoulders down nice and heavy. So shoulders stay completely down, the pelvis rolls over as far as it can, and then you bring it back into the midline. So just nice easy hip twists. Take it as far as you can. And you can take your time with this one, so keep it easy. So if you feel like you want to hold the stretch just for a little bit longer, you can do. You can look out over to the opposite direction. So as my knees are taking over to the right, I can look over to the left, keeping the shoulder down that left side. And then as we go over to the opposite side, same thing. So you can look over at that twist the whole way through the spine, right through to the neck as well. And you can hold it here. We'll just go for one more to each side. Nice gentle shift across. And then coming back through. And then last one here. And then easing all the way back through. Now we're going to go into some spine curls. So again, palms facing up. Bring the heels a little bit closer in towards the bottom. And then now what we're going to do is just tuck the tailbone under, pull the pubic bone up to the navel, use your abdominals here. Then squeeze your bottom muscles, push down into the heels, clench the glutes. And you're now going to roll the tailbone up, and then one vertebrae at a time, we're going to roll all the way through to our spine curl. And then we're going to concave through the chest and the ribs as we roll all the way back down, lengthening the spine out nice and easy, and then letting the tailbone relax as we get to the bottom. So with the spine curl here, what I'm focusing on is keeping the tuck of the tailbone. So always feel like you're pulling your pubic bone up higher and dropping the belly button down. The ribs want to stay down the whole time. Then as we lower, we roll from the ribs. So pull the rib cage back down, pull the lower back down, and then allow the tailbone to release towards the floor. Keep your shoulders and neck nice and relaxed. If you find you've got any strain in your neck, just don't go quite as high, and make sure that you haven't got anything underneath your head as well. So just if you've got some tension through the neck, because you don't want to be pulling on it or straining it here. But otherwise you can continue as you are into the range that you feel comfortable with. And this one, just focus. I always think of trying to get that C-shaped curve into the lower back, and imagine those, all your spine is like dinosaur spikes. It's like you're trying to open up the spikes. So you find it's really the lower part of the movement where you're really pulling the pubic bone up and curling the tailbone under. This is the bit where you get that stretch into lower back curl. So really focus on that, and then think of that nice sequential movement, one vertebrae at a time, as you're rolling back down to the mat. So just taking your time as you roll through, just nice and easy here. And then rolling all the way back down. Good, lovely. Now from here, we're going to just go up into a nice stretch for the hamstrings. So you're going to bring your hand behind your knee, or behind your thigh really, slide the other leg away and push the back of the knee down into the mat. We'll pull this thigh into our chest as much as we can, and then we're going to try and straighten out the knee, and then we'll bend it again. So we're just going to start first of all just by going through these knee bends. So we're straightening and then releasing. We keep the thigh into the chest, so you may find you're probably not going to straighten the knee all the way at this point because you've pulled the thigh right in, and that's okay. So we're just going to be working through this range. You can point your toe to begin with as you're doing this, just so we're really working on getting into the hamstrings. And then when you're ready, we're going to start to flex those toes towards us and continue. So pull those toes towards you, flex the ankle, and think of now pushing your heel up to the ceiling. Then we're going to hold it up at the top. Now try and straighten your legs, so you'll take your hand a little bit higher. Push that knee down into the mat on the opposite leg. And then from here, we're now going to flex and then straighten through the ankle. So we're pointing the toes and then flexing the ankle, pointing the toes and then flexing, and then really try and work on getting a straight leg position. So see how high up you can walk your hands up your leg, keeping the knee nice and straight. And then we're just working into this range here, so just nice and easy. Now we're going to flex the toes towards us and then bend the knee a little bit. And then now we're going to point the toes and straighten the knee. So bend and flex together, point and straighten together, bend and flex together, point and straighten. We're going to keep that going. Now keep pushing the other leg straight across the mat. So you're trying to keep that elongation through both legs. Last one here. And then we're going to hold the leg straight up to the ceiling. Take the hands out now onto the side, so a bit wider than our normal position. And now we're going to go into full hip circles. So you can take that leg across your midline, take the hip with it if you want to, and then scoop low and across. Take across the floor, bring it all the way back through. So we're going to draw nice big circles now, as far as you can. Keep the opposite leg straight across the mat, keep the shoulder blades down, but go as far over as you can into these nice big circles here. So we're really rolling through, getting into as big a range as you can. And we're adding in, because we're not keeping the pelvis still, we're allowing the pelvis to roll with the hip as it goes across our body. We're going to get a little bit of movement into our lower back as well, and you might even get a little bit of IT stretch or glute stretch as you do this one. Now change direction, swoop it across the body as far as it goes, keep it low as it goes across the body, then take it up and over and out to the side. Nice big circles. Imagine again you've got a paintbrush, but now it's poking out of your toe. See how big you can paint these beautiful circles with your leg, and then keeping the rest of the body down here, and then bring it back into center. Good. Now I'll do the whole sequence onto the other leg. So slide the other leg away across the mat, keep it down. Pull the thigh towards your chest. So you pull it in, holding onto the back of the thigh here. Then from there, all we're going to do is keep the toe pointed, and we're just going to get that nice bend and straighten. So we're just working into that range as far as you can. You keep the thigh into the chest, so you won't fully straighten the knee unless you've got lots and lots of flexibility. And then we'll start to add the flex of the ankle in here. So pull the toes towards you. Imagine you're pushing your heel up to the ceiling as you straighten the knee. So we'll keep this going. We're going to keep the other leg pushed down into the mat. So you're always aiming to try and get the back of the knee into the mat on that straight leg to keep it anchored down. And just relax into it. Keep your breathing going. And then from here now, we're going to straighten leg all the way. Point and flex at the ankle, keeping the knee as straight as you can on both legs. Imagine like you're trying to lengthen each leg and make them longer. Working into this point and flex. And then from here, we're now going to add in the flex of the knee. So as you point the toes towards you and flex the ankle, you bend the knee, and then you point the toes away and straighten the knee. So bend and flex, point and straighten, bend and flex, point and straighten. We'll keep this going. And then from here, we're going to straighten the leg all the way. Just pull into that stretch to get that nice stretch. And then we'll release it. We're going to hold the leg straight up, arms out to the side into your circles. So take the leg across your body now. Take the hip with the movement. Swoop it low. Take it out to the other side. And then sweep it all the way back up. So we're going to continue these circles. Focus on keeping the opposite leg down, anchored into the mat. Take these circles nice and big as far as you can. Your shoulders are going to stay anchored into the mat. You're going to swoop around as far as you can, painting nice, beautiful circles. You want to feel that the leg's nice and light, so you're not having to heave the leg up. And then we're going to change direction. Take those circles across the body. Take them up and through. Reach long, open to the side, and then round. And we're going to continue for 3 more circles now. So last 2 circles, swooping all the way around and through. And then last circle now, nice big swoop all the way around. Bring it up to the center, and then lower the leg back down. And now we're going to roll over to a hands and knees position. So you're just going to roll over to your side, pull yourself up to hands and knees. I'll just need to clip my microphone back in. I'm just going to very quickly tie my hair back to show you the hands and knees ones. And we're going to start with your cat stretch. So from here, you're going to get yourself set up so your wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And then when you're ready, you're going to tuck the tailbone underneath you and round up into what I call your angry cat position. And then we'll roll away into happy cat. So allow the tailbone to lift to the ceiling. We'll let the belly button drop, and then we're going to push away from the floor as much as we can, lengthening out. And then back through, tucking tailbone under as much as you can. So squeezing through, imagine a hot candle lit underneath your belly button. Pull away from the heat, push away from the floor so you wind the shoulder blades. And then release. Now the important bit here as you go into happy cat is we feel the stretch into the upper back. So pull the shoulder blades away from the ears, get the length through the neck, tuck the chin in, but push the head up at the same time. So you're really opening the back of the neck as much as you can. And then back through into your angry cat, going as far as you can to angry cat. And then release. through to happy cat position, really opening the chest. And then coming back into center, now into thread the needle. So from here, imagine your hand's the needle, you're gonna thread it through this imaginary hole, drop down to head and shoulders, and then we're gonna twist and look up to the ceiling and go as far as you can. So push into this bottom arm, open and twist around as far as you can, and then coming back through. If you find this one a bit too hard, you can just come down to this position and not drop the head all the way. So just see what works for you. And then we open up to the ceiling as far as you can. So push as if you're stretching between the handspan, and then come back in, and now we're going to change to the other side. So hand is going to go through, threading our needle through our imaginary hole. And then we twist up to the center, push the arm up to the ceiling, go as far as you can. Push against that bottom arm to give yourself a twist. Breathe wide into the ribs and then come back through. And then we open all the way out to the ceiling as far as we can. Good, we'll go for one more to each side on this one. So when you're ready, dropping through, going down, opening up to the ceiling, and then coming back through, opening up. Now stretching between the handspans, so we go high with that hand, and then come back through. Last one to the side. So threading our needle through this imaginary hole. Drop down to head and shoulders if you can, otherwise you're just hovering, and then push against the bottom arm, twist up to the ceiling, and then bringing that hand through, and then opening up and away. And then coming back into center. Now from here, we'll just push up into a down dog stretch. So tuck the toes underneath you, lift the hips up nice and high, and press down into your heels. We'll just do a few heel raises. So you're gonna lift the heels up and then lower the heels down. We'll continue with this movement, just lifting and lowering through the heels. As you press the heels down, you feel that nice stretch. Now, push into the hands so your fingertips are nice and wide. And then focus on pulling the chest towards the thighs as if you're trying to make yourself a pointier upside down V position here. So really, really lifting the hips up like they're on puppet strings, but draw the chest to your thighs. Press the heels down now, just hold this and take a few breaths in and out. And as you breathe out, just see how heavy you can let yourself go into it and draw the chest towards your thighs. So just keeping that breathing going, nice deep breaths in and out. Just relaxing into position. And then when you're ready from here, we'll drop the knees back down, and then we're going to go onto our tummy to finish off with some upper back movement. So you're going to drop down all the way now, down all the way onto your tummy. So from here, forehead can be down onto your head cushion or onto the folded towels, whatever you've got in front of you. Now you're going to rest your shoulders away from your ears and bring your hands out into that W shape. Point the toes and stretch the toes away. Now push the pubic bone down into the mat and hollow and lift the abdominals up. So you're drawing your belly button up to your spine. I want you to think of those abdo-pec muscles, those imaginary springs I call them, where you feel like you're drawing the rib cage to your hips a little bit. So you feel the upper abdominals having to work to keep the lower back protected and long here. Now just imagine that you've done a few shoulder rolls, pull the shoulder blades away from the ears so the shoulder blades are back and down, and then you're going to lengthen the back of the neck by drawing the nose down towards your chest. Then keep the length as you float the weight of the head just off the cushion here into what we call swan dive level 1. And then we're going to lower the forehead back down onto the cushion. So it's just a very small lift of the head. We keep the chest and the breastbone down, so I'm not lifting my collarbones up away from the floor, I'm just lifting the weight of the head off this mat. So it's just a very, very small movement, keeping the length into the neck. Your nose should be pointing down to the floor and it shouldn't be pulling forwards as you lift. You should be keeping the eye line looking right down into the same spot here as you do it. Now when you're ready from here, we're just going to float up. Push down into your forearms and your elbows a little bit, and now try and lift the collarbones just gently away from the mat, and then very slowly lower all the way back down. And then again, we're just going to lift the collarbones as we lift the head, and we're opening the upper back. We're still protecting the lower back, we're still pushing the pubic bone down, tucking the tailbone under, and almost think of using your glutes to help you with this one, to get that squeeze and tuck under so you can lift the belly button up to the spine. So you're trying to imagine that you're peeling one vertebra at a time up to the middle of your back, and then from there down to your lower back, you're keeping that nice protected position so you don't collapse and drop your belly button down into the mat as you lift. you're trying to get this lovely stretch. You should feel it right through between the shoulder blade area really here as you're lifting. If you do feel it into your lower back, don't go quite as high, and really focus on drawing in through the abdominals, and you can tuck the tailbone using your bottom muscles to help if you need to here. So then we're just going to take this for one more now in this position, and then we'll go up into our full swan stretch. So now, depending on how flexible you are, if you aren't that flexible, you take your hands a bit further up towards, so they're in line with your ears really, or if you are quite flexible, you can keep them in line with your shoulders. Then when you're ready, you continue it the same way. You lift through the upper back. Now we'll start to peel all the way where we can extend into a nice swan stretch. So we're lifting up towards our hips. Again, we're lifting the abdominals up, so we're protecting the lower back. Shoulders stay down. And then very slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we roll all the way back down to the mat and lengthen out all the way. And then again in your own time, so float the forehead up, open the chest, push the elbows down, lift into this nice stretch, keep the shoulders down, and then lead with the elbows. So I keep my curve up to the ceiling as much as I can, and then I feel like I'm dropping my elbows down to the mat, and then I elongate the spine all the way forwards. You still want to focus on keeping the neck long, so you tuck the chin in first, you float the head up, we continue that movement, we lead up with the head, but we keep the neck nice and long, so we don't all of a sudden look up to the ceiling and shorten the back of the neck. We keep that length there, like we're making all the hairs on the back of our neck stand up and lengthen out. And then bend through the elbows, keep those shoulder blades down, lead down with the elbows like a tricep press, and then slowly stretch and elongate all the way forwards over the mat. And then we'll go for one last one here, nice big curl all the way up to the ceiling, elongating all the way through, open the chest as much as you can. Feel like you've got a torchlight shining out of your breastbone. Lift the torchlight up to the ceiling, keep those shoulder blades pulling down to help, and then bend through the elbows, keep that length, lower all the way back down, and then when you're ready from here, you can push back into a nice child's pose just to get a nice stretch off. So you'll come back up to hands and knees, push the bottom back to the heels, and then lower all the way down with the chest to the floor. So I always like to take my knees nice and wide here so I can feel my chest dropping down into the middle. And you can reach forwards with the arms, let them go nice and heavy, keep the weight just heavy into the forehead, or take the arms around to your sides and let your shoulders completely relax here. Take a few breaths in and out. And then when you're ready, roll all the way back up and then relax. Well done.